Louise, I'm sure you bump up against this all the time. I know we certainly do. What should we post about as being, the ever-present elephant in the room, the thing that people just can't seem to get their heads around? What are some ideas that you would give people who are struggling with that?
Yes. So one of the books that I love, I don't know if you've read it, it's called They Ask You Answer, by Marcus Sheridan, and I kind of learned about this style of content creation a few years ago, and it's something we do with our clients. So when we onboard clients, we say, right, in the questionnaire, what are the questions you get asked about what it is that you do all the time? And think of the basic questions. When you meet somebody at a conference or a networking event and you say, hi, I'm a finance director in a law firm, what are the questions that people ask you then? Like, well, I didn't know that you could do that, or what size of company are you, or how does that work, or, who do you have working under you, blah, 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 blah. Those are the things that people genuinely want to know about in LinkedIn. So you've got to try and keep a wee record of the questions you get asked all the time. So maybe you are, let's think, human resources consultancy firm, and you work specifically with small businesses. So they might be wanting to know, who hires us? Who hires an HR consultancy? When do we bring our own HR in-house? What level of involvement do you have? If somebody is quitting their job, how do I know when it's time to bring in an outside expert? All of these things that if we work inside an industry, we can just do very easily off the top of our heads. But think about the people who actually want to hire you or use your service. What questions do they have about what it is that you do? If I turn that around to myself, Tony, for example, when someone says, well, Louise, you have this thing called the LinkedIn VIP session. What exactly is that, and why would I do that? So I can say, well, why would you hire us for a LinkedIn VIP session as opposed to a workshop with our team? Who is that for? And what would I get out of it? How long does it last? And what are you going to teach me? Are you going to do my profile for me? There's so many questions, and literally, I'm very much a pen and paper person. I would sit down with a big notebook and just literally fire out all the questions that I think somebody has about what it is that I do. And suddenly I look down at that bit of paper and there's 12 questions, right? So that can be your content for the next 12 weeks. One of the things I used to do with my podcast, and the cobbler's children have no shoes, that whole saying. So I haven't done it in a little while, but I used to do, say my podcast, LinkedIn with Louise, was going to be coming out on Wednesday, and I was going to talk about LinkedIn newsletters. So on the Monday, I would say, are you using LinkedIn newsletters? What do you think of them? And ask my audience, here are 3 reasons why I think they're great. What do you think? And people will start, because my network know that I ask questions and start conversations, they are kind of trained to start responding to me, and I always reply to them. So that'd be the starting piece of the week. The Wednesday, the podcast comes out, and I'll say, hey, everybody, here's the podcast about, my advice about LinkedIn newsletters, following on from the post on Monday. And then if I was going to post again that week, maybe on the Friday, it might be kind of a roundup of all the questions that came up through the week about the LinkedIn newsletters and kind of a summary about that at the end. So people follow me on LinkedIn or connect with me on LinkedIn because I share how to use LinkedIn for business. And I think sometimes where people get stuck understanding what content to create, it could be because they're connecting with anybody and everybody. And when they post about what it's like to be a finance director inside a law firm, or when do you hire an HR consultancy as a small business, if your network is so wide and varied and dispersed that they're not really interested in HR for small business, they're going to be less likely to respond to you. And you might think, well, I tried talking about what we do in our business, Louise, but nobody really was interested. Got to maybe think about trying to tidy up your network a little bit. Connect with people who are going to be relevant to you. Follow people who talk about the topics that you work on. And when you're on LinkedIn and you're commenting on other people's stuff, stay within the area that you want to be known as the expert for. So answer questions about HR for small business. Talk to other people who work with small businesses, other service providers, maybe accountants for small business, and kind of build up that community and conversation around the area that you want to be an expert in. If you want to connect with anybody and everybody, you know, that's fine, but you're not going to get the same results. I kind of keep that for maybe Instagram or Facebook.
No, that's a really good point about coming up with sort of commonly asked questions and making a note of those as well. I forget who it is. Someone said to me that it's a really good idea to journal. This was a number of years ago, and we really picked up on that. And it's a similar kind of concept, really. You know, look at what have you done during the working week, and then make a note of that, and then that can be the basis for ideas of posts. And in particular, what are the challenges that your clients have faced this week that you've helped them overcome, or what are the most pressing questions they've had for you, which comes back to the hot questions approach you were talking about. But things like that, if you get into that kind of routine, then you've always got something ready in your notebook, wherever it is you like to make notes. And the next time you want to post, you've already got a ready-made, you know, list of creative ideas.
Yeah, and the other thing is you follow industry journals that relate to your industry as well. When a new article comes out about something that people are talking about, so say you work in social media, well, there's no shortage of conversations you could be having about Elon Musk and Twitter right now. You know, if that is what your clients would be interested in. So I always bring it back round to say, well, actually, does this help me grow my visibility within my industry? And one of the things I do, Tony, is as well as having my business, I'm a small business champion for the UK. So I kind of have two pockets of content that I draw from. It's majority LinkedIn for business, but I also do bits and pieces about building a small business within the UK. And so Small Business Saturday just passed, and I would have done a lot of content around that. But I don't tend to talk about stuff outside of work necessarily. I mean, of course I draw in, you know, like, you know, if something big is happening in the world, I might comment on it, but I try and make it around the business because this is a professional social media platform, and I'm on it to build my business as well as to connect with, you know, other people who I've met through business. But if I meet you outside the school gate, we're probably not going to be connecting on LinkedIn. We're going to probably be more so connecting on WhatsApp or Facebook. Well, maybe not Facebook these days, who knows?